Let's rewind a bit. Okay, a lot, rather. You're sitting in front of your TV, crisscross applesauce, and mom and dad are on the couch with a bowl of popcorn. As the family watches Jim Anderson lovingly encouraging his family to make the right and moral choice. Always.
Modesty prevents me from being too obvious,
Because as the title claims, and Robert Young's honest portrayal proves, father knows best. Always. Okay, now we're back and you think to yourself, I wonder what Bud or little Kitten looks like today. And why, for a show so idyllic and wholesome, did Billy Gray, who played Bud, regret his part in this fictional family?
Hey, Ugly, telephone!
You have to call her ugly.
No, I don't have to.
I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and we're revisiting a legendary program which began on the radio in 1949 and hit TVs from 1954 until 1960. Everyone's favorite CBS family. Oh yeah, after season 1's poor ratings, it was canceled by CBS and moved to NBC, where it enjoyed 3 more seasons, but was canceled once again and moved back to CBS for its final 2.
But her age, what else can she do but try to make the best of it?
I mean, not many historically important series experience such a network shuffle. Anywho, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on cast rewinds like this. Robert Young. Jim Anderson is the patriarch and works as an insurance agent, but his most important work comes at home, where he does all in his power to give his family a good life.
Report me? You report your own father?
Remember, Daddy, it's my duty as a junior fire marshal.
This understanding and wise father was played by Robert Young, who made his sound film debut in 1931's Charlie Chan film The Black Camel. From 1928 until the mid-50s, Robert acted in over 100 films that hovered around the Tier B status, also known as programmers, which required less than a month to shoot. So these compacted shoots allowed for a hectic schedule that could pack 6 to 8 movies a year. And he didn't really have a choice either. As a MGM contract player, Young was obligated to accept any film assigned to him or risk being placed on suspension without pay. Of his contracted MGM films, his most unexpected and rewarding came in 1941, playing Harry Pullum, alongside actress and inventor Hedy Lamarr in a very fine performance. Some other standouts include Alfred Hitchcock's Secret Agent in 1936, and the tense Nazi drama The Mortal Storm in 1940, co-starring with Jimmy Stewart, a film that apparently irked Nazi leader Adolf Hitler with its strong anti-Nazi sentiments. And so Hitler banned the film and began a pattern of banning all MGM films from that point until the end of the war. Robert Young was a prototype film actor before he jumped right into the deep end of television with Father Knows Best.
But Daddy said I could go.
Oh, now wait, you didn't tell me you already had your orders.
And he was made for Jim Anderson, winning 2 Emmys out of 4 nominations. And then he got quite comfortable on TV, quickly transitioning to Window on Main Street for 1 season, before hitting the jackpot again with Dr. Marcus Welby, MD, from 69 to 76. And we have an entire episode dedicated to that healing series, so check it out after this. His final acting role was once again putting on that white doctor's coat for the Marcus Welby TV movie A Holiday Affair in 1988. But despite being so sure of himself on screen, and usually offering sage counsel, the man himself suffered from depression and alcoholism for much of his life. This even led to a suicide attempt in January of 1991. And thankfully he survived, because he helped pass the 708 Illinois tax referendum, which established a property tax to support mental health programs in his home state. And the Robert Young Community Mental Health Center is named after the actor, who used his platform and his own bottoming out to speak on the importance of mental health. The kind actor ultimately passed away of respiratory failure in 1998 at the age of 91. Thanks for the memories, Dr. Dad. Jane Wyatt. Margaret Anderson is the matriarch of the family and a great homemaker who brought realism, devotion, and strength to the household. A wonderful counterpart to Robert Young.
The sandwiches tasted good. In fact, that's why I decided to marry you.
I always suspected that.
And a part which rewarded Jane 3 consecutive Emmy wins for its final 3 seasons. Jane Wyatt began her career on both the silver screen and Broadway, her first film being 1934's One More River. But most people first remember for her from Frank Capra's incredible 1937 picture Lost Horizon. Fun fact, a Denver eccentric millionaire built a mansion replica of the Shangri-La from this film, which still stands today. But Wyatt's film career began to suffer after speaking out in opposition to Senator Joseph McCarthy, the chief figure in the anti-communist investigations and subsequent blacklisting that occurred. She was derailed for having assisted in hosting a performance by the Bolshoi Ballet during the Second World War. So she returned to the stage for a time. But in 1954, Jane was ultimately tasked with replacing Ellen Drew after the pilot of Father Knows Best, after which she primarily rocked TV, even reuniting with her old spouse in the season 5 finale of Marcus Welby. Wyatt even played Spock's mother in a 1967 episode of the original Star Trek and reprising it for the 1986 film. Jane Wyatt retired from acting after suffering a mild stroke in the early 90s, but she recovered well and remained in good health for the rest of her life until passing away in 2006 at the ripe age of 96. Thanks for giving us one of the greatest TV moms in history. Eleanor Donahue. Betty Anderson, known as Princess, is your typical teenager, but since it was the 50s, it was all rosy and she was radiant, if sometimes a little too perfect.
I thought I was the only one that felt that way.
Well, she probably thought that too.
Seasoned child star Eleanor Donahue, just like mom Jane Wyatt, came in to replace Sally Frazier after the pilot. Seasoned might not be adequate enough, as the girl was tap dancing at 16 months, and by age 5 had a contract with Universal. Fresh from radio and vaudeville, Eleanor's first film was Donald O'Connor's Mr. Big, but she never got her share of the spotlight until she put teenage angst on the telly with Betty Anderson. Immediately after Father Knows Best, she played Andy Griffith's initial love interest, Ellie Walker, for the first season in Mayberry, but afterwards things slowed a bit until she landed Tony Randall's girlfriend in the popular 70s TV version of The Odd Couple, playing Miriam Welby, one more tie-in to her acting mentor and great friend Robert Young. And then the mid-90s, she portrayed Rebecca Quinn on Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Another one we have a great cast rewind for. Eleanor's final acting role was Judge Marie Anderson on The Young and the Restless in 2011. Today, Donahue is 84 years old and has added author to her credentials, as in 1998 she published a memoir entitled In the Kitchen with Eleanor Donahue, reliving her memories of Hollywood and providing more than 150 top-grade recipes. So grab a copy and dig in. Billy Gray. James Anderson, aka Bud, is the wisecracking teen who often went to dad with some misguided notion only for father to guide Bud back on track. Billy Gray was acting professionally by 5 and was in Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer, Boris Karloff in 1949, along with his acting mother, who obviously played a big part. Bud was a studio kid, even being educated by teachers hired by film studios, and in classes intense on set. What a life.
Excuse me, fellas.
But what in this life made him turn against the wholesome lessons taught on Maple Drive? Well, he believed the show, its situations, and characters set an unrealistic standard and had negative impacts on viewers, saying girls were trained to, quote, pretend to be helpless to attract men.
Well, you said be a little helpless and feminine, and it sure got me all the attention.
So get in the comments and let me know, does Bud have a point? I look forward to reading your takes. One of his final acting roles was the 1971 horror action flick Werewolves on Wheels. But he took some time off after because it sparked a new love for the actor: racing. He competed in speedway motorcycle racing throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and his bike was known as the Orange Blossom Special. This high-speed junkie also made music history by inventing the F1 guitar pick. And today, Gray is 84 years old and lives in Topanga, California, and is a motorcycle collector and businessman. Lauren Chapin. Kathy Anderson goes by the nickname Kitten and is the youngest of the fam, adorable yet clueless.
Today I did exactly what you told me to, Mommy, and it turned out just awful.
Chapin first began acting in 1952, following her 2 older brothers into the limelight. Billy and Michael Chapin. But even while Father Knows Best made her beloved around the country, she was in the midst of abuse. In an interview with Regis and Kathy Lee, she discussed her autobiography. She was sexually abused by both her father and his friend, a man referred to as her uncle.
With him for a year, I tried to kill him because I wanted him to die, I wanted me to die. I didn't want anybody to have to suffer through this man.
And her troubled childhood was shoved aside when she got to set, and the young girl now had a job to complete. There wasn't much love directed at poor young Lauren Chapin. And then after Father Knows Best, she couldn't find work, typecast as Kitten Anderson, and unsuccessful job hunts made her mother drink more. And soon, as Lauren says, quote, "I became an incorrigible child." Additionally, she married at the young and illegal age of 16 and was divorced by 18. She became a drug addict and was sent to a psychiatric institution after she attempted suicide. In addition to using drugs, she sold them too and was arrested for forging a check in Hollywood, California. Lauren Chapin was in and out of jail for years. When acting roles failed to come, she worked as a flight attendant, a dog groomer, insurance claims examiner, a car hop, and a cocktail waitress. These days, thankfully, she is clean and made a bit of a comeback in 2016 when she was part of the series School Bus Diaries. Today, at 76 years old, she's an ordained minister and manages singers and actors, while she also performs herself in a live interactive version of Father Knows Best for conventions and other events. We are so glad she's doing better and hope she has finally found peace. And there you have them, a family you watched with your family. And that was fun to see what the Andersons got into in the 60s and beyond. So tell us, how does Father Knows Best stand up to other sitcoms like Leave It to Beaver? Did you ever watch the reunion movies like Home for Christmas that aired in 1977?
You know, Dad, Gene would like me to be like you've always been.
Get in the comments and tell us any lessons you learned and all things Father Knows Best. And please like this video and subscribe to the channel cause Father said so, and Father knows best. But from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you for watching.